Hey, what's up, everybody? BDO44 coming at you with another video. All right, so Heat Hawks game 4 in Atlanta today. That's going to be the third game on tap for the NBA, and I'm looking very much forward to this one. So Kyle Lowry has a little bit of a leg injury that he's dealing with. From what I understand, he's walking with a noticeable limp, and he will be evaluated all the way up until tip-off. I don't expect to see him, but who knows? It's the playoffs, right? So that's the thing. Clint Capella is listed as questionable, which is a huge shocker to me looking at how that injury went. Someone fell into his leg. So like Anthony Davis, and he's in a situation where he's going to try to play through it, I guess, or he's closer to coming back than was expected. AKA they're rushing him back. Let's just call it what it is. And so we'll see. We'll see if he's able to give it a go. That makes a lot of things change about this series, to say the very least. So if Clint Capella plays, no Kyle Lowry, needless to say, that is a big deal for the Hawks. Now, the issue for the Hawks in this series has just been the inconsistency of Trae Young. You got one game where he can't throw a rock in the ocean and turns the ball over 10 times, and he has another game where he's able to get some scores, he wins the game, hits the game winner, and only turns the ball over 3 times. So which Trae are we getting today? That's the question. Which one? Who are you gonna give us? So that's one thing. Bogdanovich played excellent in the last game. He's gonna need more looks in this game. Feed him. Of course, he's still kind of working his way back from a little injury. Who's not working way back from injury at this point? But all in all, you got to lean on him because that shot was falling in the last game. Delon Wright has had a very good series as well, particularly on the defensive end. He's doing all the things that you needed to do, the dirty work, the 50-50 stuff. He is very important in this series. They're going to have to continue to lean on him in second units, help them on the defensive side of the ball. Onyeka Okongwu is a player that obviously is going to be very important, being that they Heat have so many different looks they can throw at you. You're going to have to crash the glass. And with the absence of Clint Capella as of late, Onyeka Okongwu has been very important in that front court. They're going to need him to do that whether Capella's out there or not. Obviously, they're going up against Bam Adebayo. Obviously, you got PJ Tucker down there. You got players like Jimmy Butler. They're going to crash the glass. It's inevitable. So the best thing for the Hawks to do, in my opinion, is give themselves as many second chance opportunities as possible. More looks at the offensive end. More shots for your shooters. Crash the glass. Okay, now the Miami Heat side of things, I think they should continue to trust who they've been trusting. Max Strus has been playing excellent, shooting the ball as of late. He had a really good game in the last game. I'd expect him to continue to be spirited. The Hawks are not playing him as strongly as they need to, and he's a very big problem for them. Another player, obviously, you want to talk about is Duncan Robinson. He had 8 out of 9 threes in game 1, and I haven't heard a whole lot from him since. So it's time for him to light it up, let that game carry on to the road. When he's hot, the Heat win. It's that simple. Tyler Hero, I think if I'm not mistaken, he had 22 points off the bench. Real, normal type of game for him. I want to see the extraordinary from Tyler. I want that 20-point quarter in these playoffs. That's who he is. He's a quick, lighted up microwave scorer with a lot of wiggly energy. He and Jordan Poole are basically the same player. They need him to play very, very well. Tyler Hero needs to play well for this team because this is a situation where you do not want Atlanta to start getting healthier and extending this series as you guys are losing people. That is not the way you want this series to go. You have a 2-1 lead on this team, a 2-1 lead. You need to turn that into a 3-1 lead, because if you drop this game in Atlanta, you're giving Trae Young an opportunity at some confidence that you don't need him to have. You know that he's a one-man band at the end of the day. You know that if you leave him an opportunity to close a basketball game, you're probably going to lose. Especially the way y'all executed down the stretch of that last game. Miami, look, and we talked a lot about this. I like Jimmy Butler, but Jimmy Butler's a limited player as it pertains to that perimeter shooting the basketball. He can hit a 3 here and there, but a fall away 3 to win the game is a very low percentage shot if he's shooting it. That's what they did. It did not help them at all. He didn't make the shot. The end of the story was that they lost, and that's the game they left on the table. That should have been a better play ran. You should have made sure that a shooter was shooting that ball. You got Bruce down there shooting. You got Duncan Robinson. You got Tyler Hero. Those should have been the men shooting a three-point shot if you want to get a three-point look down the stretch of that basketball game. If Jimmy Butler's going to be getting the ball, he needs to be getting it with the intent of driving at the hoop, momentum taking him to the basket so that he can get to the line. And him shooting a fall-away three, you might as well just put the ball on the floor and go to the locker room because you're lost. He's not going to make the shot. That was a bad decision, and it's why you're not up 3-0. It's exactly why you're not up 3-0. And now that Kyle Lowry is out, here we are playing extra basketball when you otherwise shouldn't be. So, the Miami Heat should be very disappointed in themselves. I'm not going to sit up here and say that it's bad that they're up 2-1. Clearly, it's not. But you're going up against a real killer in Trae Young, and the only reason why this series isn't going well is because he hasn't figured himself out without Clint Capella. Well, guess what? Clint's back. If he ain't back today, he'll probably be back in the next game, and that means that you guys have to deal with him where you otherwise didn't have to. Bam's not 100%. He was dealing with an injury to start this series. You think he wants to run around and bang against Clint Capella? You do not want to play extra basketball. We talk about health and safety protocol a lot, which is why I don't think anybody should be giving up on any series that they're down 0-3. You win this game, Atlanta, guess what? Health and safety protocol might kick in. You never know. Suddenly you find yourself in a situation where the tide turns and it had nothing to do with anything on the court. That's the type of year we're living in. Do not give up. No team should be giving up on nothing. Details are important. Rebounding is important. Free throws important. Clock management is important. Timeouts important. All that good stuff. So I expect to see some of that here with these two very good coaches, McMillan and, of course, Spoelstra. So, that coaching matchup has always been serious in this series. And I expect this game to reflect those two coaches. They're both fiery. They're both prideful. They both know who they have on their roster, even though I don't think Nick McMillan uses his roster to the fullest, but that's a whole nother story. I think at the end of the day, this is a very serious game that should come down to one possession if both teams show up with the type of energy that I'm expecting to see. Especially if Clint Capella plays, that's big. That's massive. Even if he only gives you 15 minutes, what he does is give other bigs a breather, if nothing else. Onyeka Okongwu gets a little more wiggle room to play a little stronger, play a little tougher, because he's not, relied upon to do as much. He could play the weak side a little harder. He can make a couple extra fouls, take a couple extra chances. So that helps a great deal. Straightens their lineup quite a bit. Gallinari is somebody I'm looking at. He needs to make his imprint on this series. It's time for him to have one of those 3 or 4 3-point shots, three-pointer games. He needs to get hot, stay hot, in order for the Hawks to win to win this game. In my opinion, he's going to have to get hot. Gosh, my mind went blank, but they have another player on that team that it starts with an H. I don't know why my mind is saying Hauser, but whatever. There is a gentleman on this team at their shooting guard spot that they need to use as well. Hopefully his name will come to mind as we're sitting here, but nevertheless, the Hawks have players that they are not using. They must use them to their advantage to give themselves a different look against an ever-morphing, changing, versatile Miami Heat team. So that's what it is, man. I really do believe that all in all, the Hawks have the most depth probably of, they're not the deepest team in the league as of right now, but to start the season, I thought they were. And they still have a heck of a lot of depth that they could use. So it would be in their best interest to try to search for some things. And don't be so one-dimensional with Trae Young as we talked about. The reason why I thought they won that game, besides, Miami running bad plays down the stretch of the game, was the fact that they were able to get more out of other people. Again, Bogdanovich was huge. You got to get him more looks. Delon White, etc. Collins is extremely important in this series. Now that he's getting healthier, he needs to get back to being 30-point Collins. That's the Collins that got them, that assisted them getting to the Eastern Conference Finals last year. And I know he's coming back from injury, so it's not like he's an inconsistent player or not showing up or something like that. But it's just like game 5 since he's come back. He's been back for about a week or two. He should now be in a good enough conditioning, in my opinion, to be his normal self. So they need to feature him, turn him back into a big-time scorer. That will help you a lot. I wish I remembered homie's name. I hate that when this happens. It's not like he's a player I'm not thinking about. He's a small forward shooting guard combination on this team. His name starts with an H, and it's just not coming to my name. It's not coming to mind for some reason. It's annoying that my brain does this, but you guys know this happens all the time to me. The point is, Kevin Huerter, not Hauser, Huerter. Huerter is a very important player. He is capable of doing more than just shooting the basketball. He can steal a little bit, get in the defensive lanes and things of that nature. He can rebound a little bit. He can facilitate a little bit. He's a jack of all trades that doesn't get enough run with this Atlanta Hawks team. He's rendered as a fifth option, and I think he's just a little bit better than that. So I think they should give him more looks. I love when he's attempting about 11, 12 shots a game. I really do believe that he is someone who should be getting more shots than he gets, featured more. I think he's a bit more talented than he's been used as in his career with the Hawks. So lean on Kevin Huerter a little more. He's a pure scorer. He can shoot the ball. Huerter, finally. Anyway, so that's what we got, man. I personally think the Hawks are going to win this game. Kyle Lowry being hobbled. Bam Adebayo still trying to work his way back. I just think that the Miami Heat, they really hurt themselves not winning this last game. And I think, I just, maybe I'm looking at this the wrong way, but I just think the universe is going to make them pay for not doing what it is they should have done against a Hawk team that has a player like Trae. You cannot give Trae life. You can't give Trae life. He's one of those dudes that he's not worried about the score. He's not worried about the 3-1, what it looks like, 2-1, whatever. He's not worried about that. He knows that if he has a ball in his hands down the stretch of the basketball game, that his confidence is going to carry him to being the victor, to being the hero. It's in his DNA. That's not something that he has to psych himself up for. He is wired to beat you. Period. That's who he's like. I'm not going to compare him to the greatest killers of all time, but you know who they are. He's one of them. You cannot give him no light at all. Any little bit of just shine of a light, and he's going to go straight through it, and he's going to be in the sun soon enough. You can't play with Trae Young. So I think Trae's going to kill them again tonight. I think they're not getting that game in game 3 is going to leave them in a situation where they're going to be tied in the series, because you cannot play with the basketball gods like that. You cannot have Jimmy Butler shooting jumpers, falling away in the corner, and think you're going to win, and think you're not going to have to pay for that. Against the team that was in the Eastern Conference Finals last year, against a team who's missing their whole center, who you know is going to give you a lot of problems. Now he's going to be coming back. This series should change the tide. All the Hawks have to do is keep the game close, and then it's going to become a Jimmy Butler versus Trae Young situation. Now, though, I do like the Duncan Robinson hero problem that they can throw at the Hawks. The Hawks, if they use Huerter correctly, if they use Bogey correctly, suddenly that dynamic looks a little more even than it should. This is not a series that I think is anywhere near over. It's not. The Hawks should win tonight. I'm putting it out there. I'm calling it. This is a game where I think the Hawks are going to win. They're at home. Trae Young's fired up. Bogey had a hot game. Capella should be on the way of coming back. And even if Capella doesn't play tonight, the fact that he's questionable psychologically for a team gives you an extra jolt of energy. Just like I felt Joel Embiid's news for his hand and that finger took some life out of Philadelphia. Even though they were up 3-0, they came out like they were down 0-3. That's exactly what I think Clint Capella's questionable status could potentially do for the Hawks. Because what it does is give you a chance like, holy crap, all we got to do is win this game. Now we're back to full strength. They ain't even seen us at full strength and we've won a game in this series. That's the type of thing that makes you think you could win a series when you're down 2-1 against a team that just lost one of the best defensive players. So, yeah, I feel real good. I'm rolling. I'm rolling with Hawks tying this series up tonight, getting the victory in Atlanta. I'll be very disappointed if they come out and lay an egg. I'll be very disappointed if Trae Young turns the ball over 8, 9, 10 times or shoots bad shots. His shot selection, his willingness to get other people involved, him seeing that getting other people involved is a plus for his game, not just as a means of getting him assists, but as a means of creating space for him to do the things that he does freely. Be happy to see Bogey go for 30. Be happy to see Huerter go for 25. That makes life easier for you, Atlanta. Makes life easier for you. So, that's what I got to say. As long as they don't lean on Trae Young too much, leave him fresh for the end of the game, give the others so many different looks to where they don't know where the kill is coming from. That'll leave Trae Young in a position to do what it is that he does best. But as long as they can hone in on Trae Young, ain't nobody else doing anything else, Trae Young's going to get bumped out his spots. It's going to be a defensive liability, get in foul trouble. Hawks are going to be down 3-1, and they'll probably go home in Game 5. So this is a very important game. I do expect them to win it. Trae Young is that guy, period. So that's what I got to say, man. I'm going to leave this one alone. Looking forward to this game. And, of course, I'll be getting y'all with more reactions and more previews as these playoffs continue. My name is BDL44. Thank you all for watching. I'm out.